Venom. He is the most popular and recognizable out of all the symbiotes. For those who don't know what a symbiote is, it's an alien organism from outer space with a liquid-like form that requires bonding to a host, typically a sentient being, to survive. He first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man 252 in 1984, with its iconic black suit form, and later fully introduced as the character Venom in The Amazing Spider-Man 300 in 1988, and quickly became one of Spider-Man's most formidable foes and later a dark anti-hero in his own series. Venom possesses the ability to grant its host superhuman abilities, including enhanced strength, agility, and stamina. The symbiote can also produce web-like substances from any part of its body, notably used by its hosts for swinging through urban environments mimicking Spider-Man's web slinging. Additionally, it can create weapons and shields, change its appearance for disguise, and has a rapid healing factor. What makes Venom unique and menacing is its psychological connection with its hosts. The symbiote retains knowledge and skills from each person it bonds with, making it increasingly dangerous over time. The most famous host is Eddie Brock, a journalist who blames Spider-Man for his career downfall, and the pairing of Eddie and the symbiote is driven by a shared hatred for Spider-Man, which initially fuels their union and transforms them into the vengeful anti-hero Venom. The symbiote has bonded with several other hosts, including Mac Gargan, aka the Scorpion, and even Flash Thompson, who becomes the hero Agent Venom. And as Agent Venom, Flash uses the symbiote's power for good, working as a government agent and even a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, showcasing the symbiote's capacity for heroism under the right circumstances. His popularity has led to appearances in numerous comic book storylines, animated series, and movies, including the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, where he showed up in Spider-Man 3, and a standalone film series in the Sony Spider-Man universe, where the character's dichotomy as both a menacing presence and a misunderstood anti-hero is explored. Rest in peace, SSU. Carnage. He's one of Marvel Comics' most notorious villains, and was first introduced in The Amazing Spider-Man 361 in 1992. Carnage emerges from the symbiote lineage as the offspring of Venom. The character is the result of the Venom symbiote spawn bonding with serial killer Cletus Cassidy, which occurs during Eddie Brock's imprisonment with him. This combination of Cassidy's psychopathic nature and the symbiote's alien abilities produces a villain far more hostile and chaotic than Venom. Carnage differs from Venom in several key ways, most notably in his relationship with his host. Unlike Venom, which forms a mutualistic relationship with its host, Carnage fully merges with Cassidy, indicating a deeper and more permanent bond that enhances their shared evilness. This bond allows Carnage to exhibit stronger powers than Venom, including greater strength, speed, and agility, as well as a unique ability to weaponize his symbiote body to create deadly weapons such as blades and spikes. His powers also include the abilities typical of symbiotes, such as a healing factor and creating web-like substances. However, his most terrifying trait is his sheer unpredictability and desire for chaos and destruction, driven by Cassidy's anarchistic worldview. Carnage takes pleasure in chaos and killing, making him a direct threat not only to his arch-nemesis Spider-Man, but also to society at large. And throughout his appearances in comic books, he has been a central figure in several major story arcs, such as Maximum Carnage, where he assembles a team of villains to wreak havoc across New York City, and Absolute Carnage, which revolves around his quest to kill all former symbiote hosts, to absorb their codices, and release the symbiote god Knull. These storylines showcase his role as a force of pure destruction, and often requiring multiple heroes to band together to stop him. And as for the adaptations, he showed up in the Spider-Man animated shows, and he also appeared in the second Venom movie, Venom Let There Be Carnage. The movie didn't fully showcase the character's potential, and was negatively received by both critics and fans. But that's the Sony Spider-Man universe, what do you expect? It's kind of their thing to make bad movies. Rascal. First appearing in Free Comic Book Day, Spider-Man/Venom 1 in 2022, Rascal is a symbiote derived from Bedlam, initially entrusted to Kang the Conqueror, a version of Kang known as He Who Schemes programmed Rascal to foil Doctor Doom's attempts to retaliate against Eddie Brock, and subsequently transported to Earth 616 in the 21st century. Rascal was merged with elements of the Carnage symbiote. It was later seized by Dylan Brooke and the Venom symbiote, who disconnected it from the symbiote hive mind using All Black. It was offered to Normie Osborn as a means of enabling him to help Dylan rescue his father Eddie, and despite initial reservations due to his traumatic past experiences as the Goblin Child bonded to the Carnage symbiote, Normie bonded with Rascal, and this union transformed him into a red, white, and black version of the Red Goblin. Rascal is a young, emotional creature that Normie describes as puppy-like, and because of its young age and disconnect from the hive mind's wealth of experience, Rascal is still far too inexperienced to be considered powerful. Bedlam. He first appeared in Venom 1 in 2021. He is one of Eddie Brock's temporal offshoots pulled out of time by Meridius. This iteration of Eddie has been mentally regressed to a British criminal form of the Little Protector, driven solely by a desire to kill Peter Parker. Bedlam is consumed with anger and at the pinnacle of physical strength, focused solely on defeating his enemies. And like the other King in Blacks, Bedlam has the ability to project his consciousness into any symbiote across any time and space, a power he actively utilizes to track down his targets, so he can induce fear, madness, and disorientation in others. His role is primarily antagonistic, involving conflicts with Venom and other characters who encounter its path. And although Bedlam does not have the extensive comic book presence of some other symbiotes, its unique attributes and the psychological horror it presents add a bit of depth to the symbiote lore. And that's what we like as pop culture fans, the expansion of the lore. Sleeper. He is a relatively new addition to the Marvel Comics universe, debuting in Venom 165 in 2018. Sleeper is the seventh spawn of the Venom symbiote, born from the Venom symbiote itself. Unlike its predecessors, Sleeper develops into a unique entity with distinct abilities and an intriguing character arc that leans toward heroism more than villainy. Like I said, he's the offspring of Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote, and initially intended to be weaponized by the US government. However, due to the intervention of Eddie, Sleeper bonds with him briefly before finding its own way. And unlike other symbiotes that often exhibit overly aggressive and invasive traits, Sleeper is characterized by its intelligence and a more measured approach to its host relationships, showing a level of autonomy and ethical reasoning unusual for a symbiote. One of Sleeper's notable abilities is its control over chemical production, allowing it to create and manipulate a variety of chemical substances for different effects, such as pheromones to calm enemies or toxins as weapons. And like its symbiote kin, it possesses enhanced strength, agility, and the capacity to generate webbing. His most significant host is Telkar, a Kree soldier who originally used the Venom symbiote in a war against the Skrulls. Sleeper and Telkar's relationship is driven by mutual need, but marred by Telkar's manipulative tendencies. Ultimately, Sleeper chooses to part ways with him due to moral disagreements. And despite being a newer character, this symbiote adds some depth to the symbiote lore by exploring themes of independence, morality, and the potential for symbiotes to transcend their violent nature. And his narrative continues to develop, with potential for greater involvement in the cosmic and earthbound events of the Marvel Universe. Scream. She is one of the earliest and most distinctive out of the symbiote characters, debuting in Venom Little Protector 4 in 1993. As one of the 5 symbiotes forcibly spawned from the Venom symbiote by the Sinister Life Foundation, Scream and her siblings were part of an experiment to create superpowered guards. She bonded with Donna Diego, a volunteer who was suffering from schizophrenia, and quickly became one of the most iconic female symbiotes. Donna, as Scream, is known for her distinctive appearance, featuring long tendril-like hair and a predominantly yellow and red body, which sets her apart visually from her symbiote kin. Scream possesses the standard symbiote powers, however her most notable feature is obviously the hair, which she uses as a weapon to ensnare and incapacitate her enemies. The character of Scream is deeply intertwined with her host's mental health struggles. Donna's schizophrenia exacerbates the symbiote's neutral tendencies towards aggression and violence, making their bond especially volatile. And despite these challenges, Scream attempts to fight against her darker impulses, sometimes acting as a vigilante, making her more than just a typical bad guy. It has bonded with other individuals over the years. For example, in the storyline Absolute Carnage, the Scream symbiote bonds with Patricia Robertson. Scream also received her own solo comic series titled Scream Curse of Carnage, which began in 2019 but was cancelled the year after. And the character also appeared in the crossover event King in Black, which featured the arrival of Knull, the god of symbiotes. Riot. Another symbiote that emerged from the same Life Foundation experiment as Scream, first appearing in Venom Little Protector 4 in 1993. He is bonded to Trevor Cole, a security officer at the Life Foundation. Riot is characterized by his aggressive and brutal nature, which is amplified by his host's own predispositions. Cole, as Riot, utilizes the symbiote to become a powerful and intimidating enforcer within the Life Foundation's ranks. His physical abilities are similar to those of other symbiotes, and he is distinguished by his preference for forming bludgeoning weapons, such as large hammers or maces. His role in the comics is relatively limited compared to some of the other symbiotes, and his story arc is primarily focused on him being a supporting antagonist and one of Venom's spawns, and a prominent enemy of Spider-Man. Riot gained a broader audience with his appearance in the first Venom movie, where he is depicted as the main antagonist. In the film, Riot is shown possessing a host of additional abilities, including the capacity to form more complex weapons, showcasing a higher level of tactical intelligence and threat compared to his comic book counterpart. This adaptation brought Riot into the spotlight, showcasing his menacing presence and expanding his role within the symbiote narrative in the Marvel Universe. Lasher. First introduced as part of the Venom Lethal Protector miniseries in 1993. He was one of the 5 symbiotes derived from Venom and spawned by the Life Foundation that I talked about in part 1. He was bonded with Ramon Hernandez, a mercenary employed by the Life Foundation. Symbiote is characterized by its ability to use tendrils to whip, lash and ensnare enemies, living up to its name. These tendrils can be used for a variety of purposes, from offensive attacks to enhancing mobility by grappling surrounding structures. Visually, Lasher is green, setting it apart from the typically darker hues of its symbiote relatives. Its appearance and abilities are designed to evoke a more aggressive, yet controlled demeanor, fitting the tactical role it was designed to fill within the Life Foundation's plans. His role in the comics has often been tied to the group dynamics of the Life Foundation's symbiotes, and not as prominently featured as some other symbiotes like Venom or Carnage. And Ramon was not as deeply explored as other hosts. But after breaking ties with the Life Foundation, Ramon tried to learn how to control Lasher so that he could become a superhero. Sadly, he was killed off by the paramilitary vigilante organization known as Jury during 1995's Venom Separation Anxiety miniseries. Lasher was present in Venom: The Last Dance with a quick cameo. The symbiote bonded with Dr. Sari Christmas and helped her fight the Xenophages in the final battle. Phage is also one of the 5 symbiotes spawned from Venom by the Life Foundation. He bonded to Karl Mash, also a mercenary working for the Life Foundation, and he is characterized by its bright yellow and orange color scheme. And like Lasher, he was designed to be a part of a security team, and its abilities reflect a combat-oriented purpose. Its powers are typical of those found in symbiotes, including enhanced strength, agility, and the ability to generate web-like substances. However, Phage distinguishes itself through its ability to form bladed weapons from its limbs. These weapons can vary from large blades to spikes, and throughout its appearances in Marvel Comics, Phage has often been portrayed as part of the symbiote ensemble rather than a standalone character. Its storylines generally involve its interactions with its fellow Life Foundation symbiotes, as they collectively navigate their existence bound to human hosts and their roles as both weapons and sentient beings. And he also had a quick cameo in the 3rd Venom movie where he bonded with a security guard named Jim. Agony. She is the 5th symbiote that was spawned by the Life Foundation and has the most specialized skills of the rest of her spawned siblings. Agony's host, Leslie Kisneria, was a security officer, and like the other symbiotes created by the Foundation, Agony was intended to be used as part of a symbiote super soldier program. Visually, she is distinctive for her purple and pink coloration, and as for her abilities, one of her unique ones is her power to spit acid venom, which can dissolve almost any substance on contact. In addition to the typical symbiote powers like enhanced strength, agility, and the creation of web-like substances from her own mass, she can also absorb foreign chemicals that can be used for her acid attacks. It's been described that Agony's acid can burn through most matter, but the true extent of her powers has yet to be defined. And throughout her appearances, Agony's storyline has been characterized by the constant struggle for control and autonomy. And after the apparent death of her original host, the Agony symbiote has moved through several hosts, experiencing various degrees of conflict and cooperation with each one of them. She has also participated in significant symbiote-centric story arcs like Planet of the Symbiotes and Venomized, which delve into the dynamics of the symbiote community and their interactions with the broader Marvel universe. She also appeared in Venom: The Last Dance, but her powers were significantly different from those in the comics. In the film, Agony possesses electrical powers and super speed. Anti-Venom. He first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man 569 in 2008, and he is the result of a peculiar merger between Eddie Brock and a new, white symbiote born out of the remnants of the original Venom symbiote, and his own immune system, which was supercharged by an experimental cancer treatment. The anti-Venom symbiote differs significantly from its predecessors in both appearance and abilities. It is distinguished by its predominantly white color with black markings, and ability-wise, anti-Venom possesses many of the traditional symbiote powers such as enhanced strength, agility, and the capability to generate webbing. However, it has unique properties, notably its power to heal others. Yes, anti-Venom can cure people of diseases and poisons. And one of the most defining features of anti-venom is the ability to negate the effects of other symbiotes. This makes Eddie Brock's anti-venom persona effective and dangerous in battles against other symbiote hosts, as it can weaken them by merely being in proximity to them. This capability stems from the antibodies in Brock's body that target and break down foreign substances, including other symbiotes. And despite its benevolent potential, anti-venom's presence is a double-edged sword. While Eddie Brock aims to use his powers for good, the aggressive nature of the symbiote still influences his actions, leading to conflicts with heroes and villains alike. His character arc explores themes of redemption and the pursuit of a second chance, as Eddie Brock seeks to redefine his legacy apart from his darker past as Venom. Flash Thompson, the former host of Venom who became Agent Venom, later bonds with this new symbiote during the Venom Inc. storyline. This version of anti-venom retains its healing powers and neutralizing other symbiotes, but is distinguished by Flash's drive to use these powers for the greater good. As anti-venom, Flash Thompson elevates his heroism, using his military training and personal sense of justice to fight crime and assist the helpless, making a significant impact in battles against both street-level crime and larger, more supernatural threats. And as for the adaptations, anti-venom has appeared in the animated show Ultimate Spider-Man. Grendel. He first appeared in Venom Volume 4, Issue 1 in 2018. This symbiote stands out due to its ancient origins and its role as a weapon of Knull during his initial conquests across the universe, so he is not just any other symbiote. Grendel is one of the oldest of Knull's creations, a dragon-like creature made from the living abyss that predates the universe. Grendel was used by Knull to slaughter countless civilizations and gods in the cosmic realm. The symbiote, in the form of a giant winged dragon, embodies the full terror and power of Knull's intentions, spreading only darkness and destruction. During the medieval periods on Earth, Grendel was involved in battles that led to its eventual incapacitation and burial. Its remnants were later discovered by S.H.I.E.L.D., who mistakenly tried to weaponize it, and this action inadvertently awakened Knull's consciousness within the symbiote, leading to new threats in the modern era, and the presence of Grendel on Earth and its subsequent activities serves as a catalyst for the events in the Venom series and the Web of Venom spin-offs. And as of its abilities, it includes those common of other symbiotes, however its size and power are far greater, and its connection to Knull gives it unique capabilities, like the creation of other symbiotes and its psychic link to its creator. Toxin. Known for being one of the strongest symbiotes, even feared to be the most dangerous of their race by both Carnage and Venom. He first appeared in Venom/Carnage 1 in 2004 and he is the offspring of Carnage. Like I mentioned, Carnage feared the potential strength and morality of Toxin, believing it could become even more powerful and virtuous than Venom, so he attempted to destroy it. However, the symbiote bonded with the police officer Patrick Mulligan, who became its first host. Toxin possesses all the basic abilities of his predecessors, but he is stronger than both Venom and Carnage combined. This is largely due to his younger age and the potential for growth that symbiotes have. They become more powerful with each generation. And despite his terrifying potential, his narrative often explores themes of redemption and the struggle for control between the host and symbiote. After Patrick Mulligan, Toxin has had other notable hosts, including Eddie Brock, who brought a different dynamic to Toxin persona, swinging more towards vigilantism than outright heroism. And his character has appeared in various comic book arcs exploring his interactions with other characters from the Spider-Man universe and beyond, and his story is less well known compared to Venom and Carnage, but he remains a fascinating character due to his potential power and the moral dilemmas he presents, embodying the ongoing conflict inherent in his lineage while trying to forge his own path. Big Mother. First appearing in Captain Marvel 20, she is revered to be Grendel's mother, thus tying her back to the ancient symbiote dragon that was controlled by Knull. Big Mother's introduction adds a layer of mythological depth to the symbiote story, as she is directly inspired by the monster Grendel's mother from the Old English epic poem Beowulf. In the Marvel Universe, Big Mother is depicted as a colossal, dragon-like creature, mirroring her son Grendel's appearance but with distinctively more grotesque and monstrous features. Big Mother harbors a deep resentment and hatred towards humans and other beings who hunt her kind, especially those who pose a threat to her son. Her powers are similar to other symbiotes, but magnified to a greater scale due to her size and ancient origin. Additionally, Big Mother possesses the ability to shapeshift and manipulate her form, allowing her to adopt a more humanoid appearance when she chooses to interact with or deceive humans. Big Mother adds a fascinating element to the symbiote narrative, intertwining ancient lore with the modern-day superhero genre, and providing a darker, more primal perspective on the nature of symbiotes within the Marvel Universe. Knull. I know he's not a symbiote, but he is the god of symbiotes, so I have to talk about him. Fight me. Anyway, Knull first appeared in Venom Volume 4, Issue 3 in 2018. He is introduced as the god of symbiotes and predates the universe itself. His backstory reveals that he was born from the darkness that existed before the universe. When the Celestials began creating the universe, Knull was awakened and enraged by the disruption of his dark realm. In his anger, he created the first symbiote from his shadow, All Black the Necrosword, and used it to decapitate a Celestial. This act of violence against the Celestials marked him as a significant cosmic force of darkness and chaos. And following his initial clash with the Celestials, Knull went on to create an army of symbiotes, which he used to wage war against the light and life of the newly formed universe. His connection to the symbiotes is profound, as he controls them through a hive-mind connection, influencing their actions and desires. His influence and mythology were further explored in the Absolute Carnage and King in Black story arcs, where his full assault on Earth presents a dire threat to the Marvel heroes. In these arcs, Knull's arrival on Earth is marked by a cataclysmic darkness and the unleashing of numerous symbiote creatures under his control. His powers include not only the creation and manipulation of symbiotes, but also control over darkness, immense physical strength, and near immortality. Knull presents a fundamental cosmic horror in the Marvel Universe, embodying the existential dread of the unknown and the abyss. He made his live-action debut in Venom: The Last Dance, but the Sony Spider-Man universe is dead, so his story won't go anywhere, maybe. Scorn. She is a relatively newer symbiote character in Marvel Comics, first appearing in Carnage 5 in 2011. Scorn has properties that have never been seen in any other symbiote, as she can integrate with technology. She was initially the offspring of the Carnage symbiote and bonded with Dr. Tennis Knives. Dr. Knives was fitted with a prosthetic arm after losing her original limb, and it was this prosthetic that the Carnage symbiote initially bonded to. And after a series of violent events involving Carnage, a portion of the symbiote was left in the prosthetic, eventually becoming the Scorn symbiote and permanently bonding with the Doctor. What makes Scorn interesting is her ability to interface with and control technology, allowing her to extend her symbiotic material into machines and electronics, and manipulate them as extensions of her own body. Additionally, she has an unprecedented ability to exist inside and manipulate cyberspace. Dr. Neves had a hard time balancing her scientific knowledge and moral compass with the more aggressive and violent instincts of the symbiote, and this internal conflict drives much of her character development, as she grapples with the symbiote's influence and her own desire to use her powers for good.